How to complete the Consular Report of Birth Abroad for minor applicants under the age of 18. Before beginning the Consular Report of Birth Abroad and United States passport applications, it is important to understand the entire application process. This process includes online preparation, completion of various forms, obtaining numerous civil documents, and attending at least 2 appointments. 1 to review the required documentation with consular staff, and another to finalize the process through an interview with a consular officer. In this video, I will show you step by step how to obtain and complete the required forms for your first appointment, the civil documents you must present to consular staff, how to plan your initial appointment, and what fees you can expect to pay. The day of the initial appointment, at least one of the biological parents or legal guardian of the minor must visit the consular section. The day of the final appointment, both parents and the minor must be present. Each adult present must provide a valid form of identification with photograph and signature, such as a passport, driver's license, or another official form of identification. Due to limited space in the consular section, entry into the building will not be permitted to any individuals other than those mentioned here. All American citizen services, with the exception of federal benefit services and first-time passport applications for adults over the age of 18, are also offered at the consular agencies in Punta Cana and Puerto Plata. For your convenience, we recommend that you take advantage of services at these offices if they are closer to your geographic location. The Punta Cana Consular Agency provides services to the eastern coast of the Dominican Republic and the Puerto Plata Consular Agency to the northern coast. The agencies tend to offer services with less wait time since they normally process fewer clients. If you would like to schedule an appointment at one of the consular agencies, please send an email to its respective email address, available on the website of the United States Embassy. If you experience technical difficulties or do not have internet access, you may also make your appointment by telephone. For the Punta Cana Consular Agency, call 809-552-8990. For Puerto Plata, either 809-586-8017, 809-586-4204, or 809-586-8023. Preparation of forms. Next, I will show you how to obtain and complete the forms that you must bring to your first appointment, which include the DS 2029 Consular Report of Birth Abroad application, the DS 5507 Affidavit of Physical Presence or Residence, Parentage and Support, the DS-11 United States Passport Application, and the DS-3053 Statement of Consent or Special Circumstances. Forms DS-5507 and DS-3053 should only be completed if applicable to your case. This will be explained in greater detail later in this video. These forms may be found on the Department of State website at www.travel.state.gov. Enter the number associated with each form in the search field at the top of the page. While completing these forms, please keep the following in mind. Do not use nicknames or abbreviations when writing your name and surname. Do not use letters to write or abbreviate months. Enter all dates with numbers only in the following order: month, day, year. Do not abbreviate places of birth. Always write places of birth in the following order: city, country. Please do not sign any form before your appointment with consular officials. These forms will be physically sent to the Department of State in the United States, and therefore, it is necessary that you write legibly without abbreviations and precisely following instructions so as to not cause delays in the process. To begin, you should obtain the Consular Report of Birth checklist, which may be found on the website of the United States Embassy. First, go to U.S. Citizen Services and click on Consular Report of Birth Abroad. Read this information thoroughly and continue by clicking on How do I declare my child? After reading this next page carefully, click on Consular Report of Birth Checklist. Please print this list, complete it, and bring it to the first appointment. Once you print and sign the checklist, the next step is to complete Form DS-2029, the Consular Report of Birth Abroad application. Now I will show you in detail how to complete each part of this form. First, the minor's information. Number 1. Write the minor's full name exactly as it appears on their long-form birth certificate. First, their surname, then their first name. Number 2. Check the corresponding gender. Number 3. Enter their date of birth with numbers only in this order: month, day, year. Number 4. Write their place of birth in this order: city, country. Next, the biological parent's information. The father's information on one side and the mother's information on the other. Numbers 5 and 11. Write the parents' names exactly as they appear on their identification documents: the U.S. passport and the other parent's national identification with their photograph and signature. Numbers 6 and 12. Write any other names or nicknames that have been previously used. Numbers 7 and 13. Check their corresponding genders. Numbers 8 and 14. Enter their dates of birth. Numbers 9 and 15. Write their places of birth: first city, then state, in case they were born in the United States, lastly, country. Numbers 10 and 16. In the first 2 lines of each side, provide their current addresses. In the third line of both sides, enter the telephone numbers where they may currently be reached. In the fourth line of each side, write their email addresses if they have one. Then check yes on both sides to answer the question, use this address if consular report of birth will be mailed. Number 17. Provide any other current address where you receive mail. If you do not have another address, write NA. Numbers 18 and 19. If the father or mother is a United States citizen, check yes. If they have any other nationality, check no. Number 20. If the biological parents were legally married to each other at the time of the minor's birth, check yes. If not, check no. Number 21. Only respond to this question if you answered yes to question number 20. If the biological parents are still married to each other, check still married. Just below this, write the date and place of this marriage: first city, then state or province, lastly, country. If they are no longer married, indicate here the manner of termination. If divorced, check divorced. If widowed, check death. In either of these 2 cases, also enter the date on which it occurred. Numbers 22 and 23. Only complete these spaces if you answered no to question number 20. Possibilities include if the biological parents are or were married to other people who are not the minor's biological father or mother, or if they are currently married to each other but were not at the time of the minor's birth. If applicable, enter the dates of all other marriages that the biological parents currently have or previously had, their manners of termination, divorce or death, and the full names of these respective spouses. If they have never been married, write none. Numbers 24 and 25. Provide all the locations and time periods of the biological parents' physical presence in the United States. First, city and state. Next to that, the dates of these periods. Numbers 26 and 27. If applicable, provide other locations and periods that qualify as physical presence in the United States. If you need additional space, please use Section D of this form. Do not fill out Section B. Stop here, where it says This section to be completed before, by, consular officer, notary public, or other person qualified to administer oath. Do not fill out Section C. This will occur in the presence of the consular officer during the final appointment. DS 5507. Affidavit of physical presence or residence, parentage, and support. This form is divided into 3 parts and should only be completed in the event that both of the following conditions are met. The minor was born out of wedlock, and the U.S. citizen father is unable to attend the final appointment. It is mandatory that the U.S. citizen parent unable to attend the final appointment complete this form and have parts 2 and 3 notarized in the United States or by a U.S. consular officer. Once completed, this form should be sent to the other biological parent who will attend the final appointment. Follow these instructions to complete each line of this form. First, the information of the U.S. citizen parent unable to attend the final appointment. Write their name exactly as it appears on their U.S. passport or official identity document. First, their first name, then their last name. Only one of the following 3 options should be selected. If the U.S. citizen parent was born in the United States, complete option number 1. Write their place of birth in this order: city, state. Enter their date of birth, with numbers only, in this order: month, day, year. If the U.S. citizen parent was naturalized as a U.S. citizen, complete option number 2. Enter their naturalization date. Write out the name of the U.S. court before which they were naturalized. If the U.S. citizen parent acquired their citizenship through transmission by one or both of their parents, complete option number 3. Enter their date of birth. Write the name of the country in which they were born. Now, provide information about the marital status of the U.S. citizen parent by selecting all of the following options that apply. If they are currently married, check married. If they were previously married, check previously married. If they are unmarried, check not married. If applicable, enter the date of their marriage and write out the name of their spouse. If applicable, write out the name of the country in which they were married. If necessary, use an additional piece of paper to list previous marriages. Provide the full names of all respective spouses and how these marriages ended, divorce or death. Provide the names of all the U.S. citizen parents' biological children, including the minor for whom they are applying for U.S. citizenship. Next to these names, enter their dates and places of birth. If necessary, continue and complete this list on an additional piece of paper. If the U.S. citizen parent was born in the United States, all periods of physical presence on U.S. territory throughout their life should be listed using the box at the top of the second page, where it says that I have been physically present in the United States as follows. In the first line of the top box, provide the city and state where the U.S. citizen parent was born. Next to this, enter their date of birth. Continuing to the right, enter the date on which they made their first trip outside the United States. Lastly, write out the purpose of this trip: vacation, residence, business, work, school, military, or something else. Keep in mind that the date on which they left the United States should match the date on which they entered the foreign country then visited. In the second box just below, where it says that I have been physically present abroad as follows, complete the first line by writing the name of the country visited. Continuing to the right, repeat the date on which they made this first trip outside of the United States. Next to this, enter the date on which they returned to the United States from this trip abroad. Lastly, write out the purpose of this trip. If necessary, continue and complete these lists on additional pieces of paper. In both cases, these lists should coincide in such a manner that every day of the life of the U.S. citizen parent is accounted for, starting from the date of birth. The same day that a period abroad ends a period in the United States should begin, and vice versa. If the other biological parent does not also have U.S. citizenship, check is not a citizen of the U.S. and leave spaces 1, 2, and 3 blank. Otherwise, if the other biological parent does have U.S. citizenship, check is a citizen or national of the U.S. and complete only one of the following 3 options. If the other parent is a U.S. citizen as a result of having been born in the United States, complete option number 1. Write their place of birth in this order: city, state. Enter their date of birth with numbers only in this order: month, day, year. If the other parent was naturalized as a U.S. citizen, complete option number 2. Enter their naturalization date. Write out the name of the U.S. court before which they were naturalized. If the other parent is a U.S. citizen through transmission by one or both of their parents, complete option number 3. Enter their date of birth. Write the name of the country in which they were born. Part 2. Part 2 of this form should only be completed if the minor was born out of wedlock and both biological parents have U.S. citizenship. All periods of physical presence on U.S. territory throughout the life of the non-applying parent should be included in this box. In the first line, provide the cities and states in which they lived starting from their first day in the United States. Stop here, where it says, "Please stop here." Do not sign the form. Part 3. On Part 3 of this form, write the current address and telephone number where the U.S. citizen parent who is transferring citizenship resides. Remember, it is mandatory that the U.S. citizen parent have Parts 2 and 3 of this form notarized in the United States or by a U.S. consular officer. Once completed, the entire form must be returned to the other biological parent who will attend the final appointment. DS-11, U.S. Passport Application. The next required form is the DS-11, U.S. Passport Application for the minor. Follow these instructions to complete each line of this form. Number 1. Write out the minor's name exactly as it appears on their long-form birth certificate. First, their surname, then their first name. Number 2. Enter the minor's date of birth with numbers only in this order: month, day, year. Number 3. Select the minor's gender. Number 4. Write out the minor's place of birth: city, country. Number 5. Leave blank. Number 6. If you have an email address, provide it here. Number 7. Write the telephone number where the applying biological parent or legal guardian may be currently reached. Number 8. Write the minor's current address in this order: street name, sector and number, city, and country. Number 9. Write any other names used by the minor. Number 10. Provide the information of the biological parents. Write all their names exactly as they appear on the identification documents, either their U.S. passport or, in case one parent is not a U.S. citizen, a national identification with photo and signature. First, their first name, then their last name. Provide the dates and places of birth of both parents. Mark the parents' genders and indicate which of them is United States citizen. Do not sign this form. This will occur in the presence of the consular officer during the final appointment. At the top of the second page, repeat the minor's information. First, their last names, then their first names. Enter their date of birth again. Number 11. Enter their height. Number 12. Write their hair color. Number 13. Write their eye color. Number 14. If they are older than 16, you may provide their occupation here. Number 15. If applicable, You may include the minor's employer or school. Number 16. Provide any other alternative telephone numbers to receive messages and specify whether they are for home, work, or cellular. Number 17. The same as in question number 8, provide the minor's current address here. Number 18. Enter the information of the person who will serve as an emergency contact. This person may live anywhere in the world. Write their first and last names, their current address, their telephone number, and their relationship to the minor. Number 19. Leave blank. Number 20. Select the minor's marital status. If they have never been married, check no. If they are currently or were previously married, check yes, and complete the following spaces just below with their spouse's information: name and surname, date of birth, place of birth. Indicate whether the spouse is a U.S. citizen. If so, check yes. If not, check no. If applicable, enter the date of this marriage. If widowed or divorced, check yes. If not, check no. If applicable, enter the date of this death or divorce. Number 21, check no. Number 22, check no. Stop here, where it says, please do not write below this line. DS 3053, Statement of Consent or Special Circumstances. When one of the biological parents is unable to attend the final appointment due to extraordinary circumstances, the statement of consent is also required in order for them to provide approval of passport issuance to the minor. This form must be completed and notarized by a U.S. notary or at a U.S. consulate. Follow these instructions to complete each line of this form. Number 1. Write the minor's name exactly as it appears on their long-form birth certificate. First, their surname. Then, their first name. Number 2. Enter the minor's date of birth, month, day, year. Number 3. Write the absent parent's relationship to the minor. Number 4A. The consenting parent must complete this space with their name, signature, and the date on which they sign the form. Number 4B. This space must be completed, signed, and sealed by a notary public in the United States or by a U.S. consular officer. Number 5. Only complete this space if the absent parent could not be located and special circumstances exist to justify their absence. It is important to note that this form is only valid for 3 months and must therefore be notarized no more than 3 months before the date of the final appointment. Documents required for the first appointment. Now I will show you the documents you must bring to your first appointment and the order in which they should be presented to consular staff. Form DS 2029, Consular Report of Birth Abroad Application. In conjunction with Form DS 2029, the Consular Report of Birth Abroad application, you must submit the following documents in this order: the minor's original long-form birth certificate. If the biological parents are currently married to each other, include their original marriage certificate. If applicable, include original divorce or death certificates verifying the terminations of previous marriages. All certificates presented must be authorized and certified by local civilian authorities. Form DS 5507, Affidavit of Physical Presence or Residence, Parentage and Support. In conjunction with Form DS 5507, the Affidavit of Physical Presence or Residence, Parentage and Support, you must submit the following documents in this order. If born in the United States, attach a photocopy of their long-form birth certificate. If naturalized as a U.S. citizen, attach a photocopy of their naturalization certificate. Form DS-11, United States Passport Application. In conjunction with Form DS-11, the U.S. passport application, you must submit photocopies of the official identifications of both biological parents with their photos and signatures. 2 photocopies of the United States passport of the U.S. citizen parent. If both parents are U.S. citizens, include photocopies of the United States passports of each one. If one of the parents is not a U.S. citizen, it is necessary to bring 2 photocopies of their passport or official national identification with photo and signature. Fees. Current local fee information for consular reports of birth abroad and U.S. passport applications may be found on the website of the United States embassies in almost every country in the world. Links are available on the Department of State website, www.usembassy.gov. How to schedule your first appointment. Once you have correctly completed the forms, arranged the supporting documents in the order previously shown, and have reviewed the applicable fees, the last step is to schedule your first appointment online. Return to the website, How Do I Declare My Child, and click on Online Appointment System. When making your first appointment online, keep in mind that it is important to schedule well in advance because available spaces may fill up quickly. Provide a valid email address to enable us to notify you of unforeseen circumstances that may affect your appointment. We will not share your email address with third parties, and it will be deleted from our system after completing the application process. If you do not have an email address, you should enter none@none.com in this required system field. Please print a copy of your confirmation and bring it to your initial appointment. If you need to cancel your appointment, this can also be done through the online appointment system. At the end of the initial appointment, if you are adequately prepared and have all of the required documentation arranged in the order specified, your final appointment for an interview with a consular officer will be scheduled, and you will receive another list of additional required documentation. Only those applicants in possession of all the required documentation at the time of the first appointment will be able to schedule their final appointment. If not fully prepared, additional appointments will be necessary. Therefore, it is important to prepare yourself by reading and reviewing all of the official information available online before ever visiting the consular section. I hope that these instructions have been delays in the process. We appreciate your time.